Everyone's missing you here, with your hair in a mess, in your outdated dress, when Houston was all the rage.
Mancava dal mondo discografico da più di 9 anni, un lungo periodo in cui, oltre a una delicata operazione alla spina dorsale che non le ha permesso di suonare per diverso tempo, la sua vita è stata piena di volontariato, di impegno sociale e di tempo trascorso a crescere sua figlia. Oggi Natalie Merchant torna con un nuovo disco, Keep Your Courage, che mostra in copertina una delle donne coraggiose per eccellenza, Giovanna d'Arco, un titolo significativo per un album ricco, finemente scritto ed elegantemente prodotto, che indaga, con la giusta dose di coraggio, il mistero più intricato, l'amore.
I didn't even realize I'd written an entire album about love until it came time to write the liner notes, because the love that I'm singing about is all different sorts of love. Sometimes it's love of humanity, sometimes it's romantic love, and romantic love from an optimistic point of view and a expectant point of view, but also from a tragic point of view of when love goes wrong, and a heroic point of view of saying, well, in order to love, we have to risk injury. If you love deeply and truly, you kind of surrender yourself to that emotion and that connection to another person, but there's always the risk that it won't be given back to you, and that rejection is really painful. So you're risking to love, and that's courageous. That's an act of courage.
Telling cards, red flags in the eye.
I was so involved in social activism and volunteering and just giving of myself and my time for so many years that I didn't do any songwriting for probably 5 years, between being a single mother and a full-time activist. So I think the reason I started writing was because the pandemic removed all of my busy distractions that I usually involved myself in that seemed more important than being an artist. And I was reminded that is what I am. I'm not just an activist, I'm not just a mother, but I'm a songwriter.
Barricades.
I tratti peculiari che l'hanno resa la cantautrice raffinata che conosciamo ci sono tutti, ma la scrittura si rivela ancora più poetica del passato e i suoni si nutrono del suo eclettismo e del sapiente apporto di 7 diversi compositori che rendono l'opera finale estremamente ricca.
Well, I have very wide taste in music when I listen to music, so all those different influences go into my writing, and I think it makes it richer and more varied. On this album, I wanted it to be very lush and big, and so lots of symphonic instruments, woodwinds and brass, and lots of strings. I had 7 different composers collaborate with me on this project. I'm proud of several things. I think the lyrics are really more poetic than I've allowed myself to be. The musical arrangements and the production. I think it's the best sounding album I've ever made.
Oh, you've gone away.
Well, stylistically, there are a lot of influences, so I can understand how it's been difficult to really, pigeonhole me. Eclectic, I guess, would be a good word. But I would focus more on the way that people respond to what I do, and I think they think of me as I give people something of quality and something of utility, something that's useful to them. That's what people tell me, is that the music is something that they can turn to for comfort or for inspiration, and that it's very honest.
No craving for sensation.
I'd say in the early years, Bob Marley was a huge influence, and a lot of the reggae artists like Peter Tosh and Jimmy Cliff, and I don't do a lot of reggae music, but I think it was more the message was so powerful in that music. It was the first time that I heard voices from the third world, and definitely post-colonial voices speaking about the oppression that they lived under, and it just made me think that music could be about messages and have some weight to it. I loved British folk music and Celtic folk music because of the stories and the poetry in the lyrics. And I guess Bob Dylan was a big influence when I was younger. The Beatles, definitely. When I was growing up, my parents were very young and they bought all the Beatles records as they came out, and it was a big event for the family to have a new Beatles record, and we would listen to the record all the time and dance around the living room and learn all the words. And I used to fantasize about the Beatles coming to my house, that their tour bus would break down in front of my house. And it's so strange to have met Paul McCartney and Ringo and Yoko. I didn't get a chance to meet John because he was killed when I was just the first year I was in 10,000 Maniacs. But I have met Yoko several times, so it's just a strange thing to have grown up with them being a fantasy part of my life, and then to actually, they become real people, when you're standing in the same room with them, talking to them. Pretty much the same person, just more experience and probably more confidence. But I could write a song about Jack Kerouac today, easily. I wrote a song about Walt Whitman on the last record. So I think writing about American literary figures is an ongoing theme in my work.
Natalie Merchant sarà in concerto in Italia il 17 e il 18 novembre e, in attesa di ascoltare il nuovo progetto in lavorazione dedicato alla poetessa ebrea italiana Lina Schwartz, ci fa ascoltare i progressi delle sue lezioni di italiano.
C'è un regalo dentro la mia valigia. Non possiamo campeggiare qui. And lots of useful things like that.